Welcome to Hempy Nation, where you don't need a reservation. I said, Mama, hello, stand with open arms, here to warn you with a one more time. Yeah, one
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Hempy Hour. I am one of your hosts, Gina Mama Epps, and I am with
Lolo Carter.
We've been talking to you guys the last few weeks about mental health. You guys know that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And you've also heard me talk about the Growth Academy an obnoxious amount of times. So we have a very special guest today who is not only a mental health expert, but also a part of the Growth Academy, which is very near and dear to our hearts.
Yes, let's welcome Shara. Ruffin.
Shara, come on down.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. A little tired, but I'm good. I'm here.
I mean, I can't imagine why you're tired. You only have 40,000 things a day going on.
You guys are funny. Yeah, it took a second. I was like, 40,000? What's she talking about? But then I realized.
Look, I only have 39,000.
Yes. Yep. But I am here. I've been just trying to be on the entrepreneurship track. So I'm just busy.
Yeah. So now I'm glad you brought that up because like when we first met, you were not doing what you are currently doing.
No.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you can take us back to, where you started, what your expertise is, what your training is in, and then like where that journey has taken you.
The inspiration.
So I am a licensed clinical social worker. My clinical background is being a psychotherapist. So I have 10 specializations, just about.
Wow.
So I specialize in family trauma, military counseling, grief counseling, ADHD, anxiety, psychosis, personality disorders, quite a few. It's
Wow.
pretty extensive, quite a few
Wow.
areas.
Yeah.
That I have. Those are ones just popped off the top of my head on top of the alphabet soup that people see in the picture. So, and I'm a board certified telemental health provider, but I'm not doing any of those things. I now can say that was my former life. So
Yes.
I'm now a social work wellness coach. I actually help people pass their clinical and master board exams. So in social work, we have about 3 different licenses we have to hit once we get our degrees. It's not just, you get your degrees, you go out and work. We actually have to take licensure exams by our state because they protect the public and they give us a headache. And there's a lot of money to take and it can be very stressful.
I can't imagine.
Is this an ethical type of?
Ethical. It's really, we are actually regulated by a regulatory board called the ASWB. And it basically, just like the way I explain is the way doctors get their medical boards in order to practice, or a lawyer passes their bar exam. Same thing with counselors, social workers, marriage and family counselors, licensed professional counselors, psychologists. They all have board exams they have to hit, even with all the extensive schooling. It's really to protect the public.
Right.
To uphold their ethical standards as well as their professional ones. So yeah, it's a lot. But
I want people to know, because I think there might be an assumption that you don't have to have a lot of that, behind that before you step into the community. So what are you actually getting? Where's the bar set? Where's the what are right? A nice standard.
They're annoyingly in place, but it's a heavily regulated field, mental health period, no matter who the mental health professional. They're licensed. They went through extensive training and had to go through an extensive, rigorous licensing process to be able to practice.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So now, as you got through that process yourself and knew what a journey that was that part of your inspiration for, becoming an entrepreneur and wanting to help other people get to where you've gotten?
Pretty much, but I never thought I would be doing that. I thought I was going to open up a private practice right away.
Okay.
And a cushy office or something. And this was way before the whole pandemic. That has totally changed.
Sure.
Totally changed. I think mostly because of how long it took me. It took me 10 years post master's degree in 2010 up till 2019, almost to 2020, really.
Okay.
At licensure, that takes 2 years. It took me 10 years because of all the life things that had happened during that time. So very quickly, the one post that blew up when I did pass my exam on LinkedIn, it hit 93,000 views, something like that. That was the most
Wow.
I had. And it was just me saying how long it took me to get this license, to find out that I wasn't the only one that had that issue. I shared with people that after I grabbed my master's at the age of 24, I'm 35 now. So I was already engaged to someone to get married. It was going to be a military marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And we broke up after 6, 7 years. And then 2 years later, here comes my ex-husband. A charming year-old, my senior, 13 years my senior. Man, it was a very turbulent marriage, mostly because he had a lot of his own trauma and things that he wasn't really dealing with. And, two broken people coming into a relationship is pretty messy. So the marriage didn't last that long. We had our first child when we were dating, and she was a stillborn. So at 7 months, I gave birth to her. He was already in Afghanistan at the time doing his first.
Oh my gosh, Shara.
So that happened. Yeah, I mean, I can talk about it now, but back then it was really hard. I gave birth to her at 7 months. And then when he came back, he was expecting to hold a baby girl, and he came back to just me, and we were really just not in a good place. Right after that, I gave birth to my son, who was medically compromised. So my son, Jaden, who oftentimes is seen in my videos on LinkedIn. He was born with a kidney abnormality that could have killed him. So 6 months, he had to get surgery, and he got the surgery, and it suffered for 4 years of back-to-back emergency visits. So throughout all of that, I had a marriage that was falling apart. Postpartum depression, because when my husband, we did our marriage and relationship was basically almost geographically apart. Yeah. So we never really were in the same area at once. He could go back to his Tennessee home. I was in Philadelphia with my family. I constantly had to deal with suicidal at-risk people in a hospital from 9 to 5, and then come home to a medically compromised child by myself. And it was hard because I was in a family environment where my mother was going through her own depression. My brother, he was suicidal at the time. I had a little baby to take care of, and I almost gave up Jaden over adoption over how depressed I got. I could play Shara the therapist until 9 to 5, and then my whole world was in a shithole because my marriage was falling apart. My husband didn't seem to give a shit. He was kind of disattached from me and my son for a degree. So I was a single mom, married. That was pretty hard while trying to build a career, which was even harder because oftentimes I had to fight with compartmentalizing two worlds, dealing with being a single mom of married in a military marriage that was falling apart, and also being a psychotherapist and trying to build my clinical experience as I was going along. I did that for, 7, almost 7 now. So about 5 years straight.
Wow.
It was horrible. And then having to deal with long commutes to work because I didn't have a car, putting all my money into trainings, to all of those specializations that I talked about. It cost a lot of money to do them on top of trying to take care of this baby. I still look back and still don't know how I got it all done, but I did. The divorce went through. A year later, I found out that he has a baby. My ex-husband, the reason why he was pushing the divorce because he got somebody pregnant during our marriage. So...
Man, like I don't.
The hits just keep coming.
Oh no, it's okay. It's in my. I got a Facebook chapter, Facebook mystery chapter in my book. So,
I'm buying the bookmark now.
Yeah,
I'll place it nice.
Pre-orders, 2 pre-orders.
Yeah.
It was. Gosh, it was bad. Facebook is the devil, but nonetheless, it's
great.
It's like, hi, I just want my daughter to know her other siblings. Like, excuse you, who are you? And she's like, oh, I'm gonna call him Xavier. And I was like, yeah, that's my ex-husband. She's like, oh yeah, we just had a baby together. Wait a minute, we just got divorced. It's been a year. We got on the phone. We talked about 6 hours. I got a glass of wine, and we just talked.
Wow.
I had a very similar situation without the baby, but, you know, Facebook being the devil of, you know, conjuring these relationships out of nowhere. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
First of all, you got to have a certain kind of person that'll do that kind of stuff. But man, like,
but nonetheless, I mean, overall, I went from that to then a year ago when the pandemic hit, when I was supposed to take my clinical exam. So after all this crap, I get my hours done because there's a certain amount of hours you have to even have required to take the state exam.
right.
It took me exactly 5 years to do it, 4 supervisors, and 1 flyby to 1 supervisor to go find her on the beach to have her sign off my hours.
Wow.
So it was one of
Working though. That's kind of the
yeah. I literally said I'm done. Come sign, because everyone that kept in my job, they kept leaving. It didn't matter who the supervisor was, just high turnover. So I was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. I'm tired. I loved the people I worked for. Hated. I did not like the way the organization was set up.
Okay.
So that was really the issue. But nonetheless, looking back, it was a blur. And so when I finally got the hours done for this exam, I missed it by 2 points November 2019.
Oh.
Devastated. Had a girlfriend that I coached. She passes 3 weeks after. Then I was like, all right, I'm going to take this again. Give you a 90-day window where you can take it again. I was like, okay, I'm going to take it in March. Hit it. Then a pandemic hits. I lose my contract job. I don't have insurance. My bank account starts to dwindle. I go into a depression. The summer riots for last year were really hectic. In Philadelphia, there were shootings every day.
Oh.
I mean, it's worse now than it was even during the midst of the riots last year in reference to the whole George Floyd thing. But the riots and the ATM explosions at night, it went on for consecutively 1 week. I'll never forget it. And you can literally hear people blowing up ATM machines. You could hear it.
Oh my God.
Rumble at nighttime. And then there would be firecrackers or shootings. It was a little bit of both.
I don't know how you know the difference at this point.
Oh my God.
I know. Yeah, I know the difference. When you get helicopters over your head and you know that someone's either got shot or they're trying to catch somebody on the run. And that's, I mean, it's kind of sad because it's desensitized now. I basically get alerts on my phone. Okay, another shooting in the middle of the day. Like it's pretty bad here, but nonetheless, then it was really bad because the virus is going on. I could have worked a social work job. I couldn't function for 5 months before I could even study again. And I just fell into a deep depression. I couldn't do anything. I wanted to pass the exam so I can move on with my career. I was stuck.
Yeah.
My bank account was just depleting, and I had to get on food stamps. So I finally was able to get state insurance in a couple months, and then I got approved for food stamps, and then I could see a psychiatrist to get on medication for my anxiety, my ADHD. I literally had migraines every day. They were in different places in my head to a point where I thought something was wrong. Like, is there a tumor growing in there?
Oh my God.
I would take 6 to 7 Excedrin migraines a day to make it go away.
Yeah.
Every single day. And I'm used to having migraines, but not like that. This was every day. And I'm like, my body's telling me something. I need to go.
Yeah.
So once I got my insurance in August of last year, I got the CAT scan done. They said everything looks fine. It's all psychosomatic.
Wow. Yeah. Man, our brains are something else. Like we talk about that all the time. It's insane.
Yeah. Our bodies are really just susceptible to this, this constant mental, stress.
Yeah, he's like
physically manifests in us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And thank you for talking about this as a therapist, because you're a person that people go to for these types of conversations, and it's very nice to see it being relatable and people are living.
You're just as human as the people that need your services. Like that's important for people to see.
It's important to me. Like if I want somebody to have lived experiences similar, having that kind of perspective, bringing that kind of personal experience to a conversation, it really helps form better relationships. You know what I mean?
It does. I used to get into a lot of trouble when I was a therapist because I did. I would call my supervisor office, but because they teach you, like I had a lot of colleagues that would be all book and intervention, but if you can't build a relationship with somebody first, you're not going to get it anywhere with them. It's the foundation of any type of clinical therapeutic relationship. At least that's what, I'm taught. But I used to get in trouble because I had a lady, I'll never forget. She was pregnant and she would constantly throw herself in traffic.
Oh my God.
And I'll never forget, I shared with her, I almost gave up Jada for adoption because of my postpartum depression. Because at first I was like, what am I going to tell this lady? And she just kept doing it. I ran into her 3 years later because, mind you, when she threw herself in traffic again, she was hospitalized. So I didn't see her for 3 years. I ran into her and she said, this is the baby that you saved. And this is what we've been carrying, just from me telling her that I almost gave Jaden up for adoption. It wasn't anything I said clinically. It was connected to that story.
Yeah,
I think in therapy, you sometimes feel like you're in a cage and people are watching you and analyzing you, and it becomes so non-relatable. So it really stops how you communicate to the person that's trying to help you.
Yeah, it really matters. And someone that knows what it's like to be on the opposite side of the chair, because I've been the patient.
Yeah.
So it's hard when you have to connect with somebody. You don't know, they have the book smarts, but do they have empathy? Do they have an understanding? Are they able to connect and hold that space for you? And for me, that was the most important part of my work is watching people trust the process, but not only trust the process, but trust me with their process.
Right.
Yes, well said.
Which is what counseling was for me a lot when I did do it. So, after that, I think once I passed the exam in the midst of bomb threats, because it was the day before we found out who was going to be president. So Pennsylvania was the swing state at the time.
Oh my God, nightmare.
Which I was about a block away from the testing center. So a 6-hour exam, took it, came out crying, passed it. Took about a good 2 months to just not do anything. I really did something. I got on Clubhouse when Clubhouse was kind of really jumping in January, and I started telling that same story. So the same story that's shared with you guys kind of in pieces, that same that hit 93,000 views. I can honestly say it's a business, it's a book, and it was the beginning, kind of that springboard into what's happening now, because
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was totally unintentional. It was just me sharing my story on Clubhouse to a bunch of social workers and trying to get them to understand that it takes a lot to pass. Here's everything I went through, but I still was able to do it, even though I struggled a decade along the way. And it blew up. I started doing my own strategy group on Clubhouse, and then I eventually made it a club within a couple of months. Then people were passing their exams from just that group, and then I started doing individual and group coaching. And 65 pages into a book that I'm writing that's called To Licensure, which is my business. From food stamps to building a business in the midst of a pandemic. So.
Oh, I love that.
Clubhouse just got on Android, so I'll be definitely looking you up on that regard, because I didn't want to switch to iPhone. But your story of resilience, I know sometimes we always find ourselves, going through like the most unimaginable scenarios that we could ever place ourselves into, and then more times than not, when we show resilience and we get through these things, we are in a spot that we never would have been to had we not gone that journey,
Yes.
And I think that in most scenarios like yours and this beautiful story, it's really where these things exist without these types of struggles or these challenges. And maybe they would in some other way, but would you really be connected to it in the way you are now? And would it drive you? No, right?
Yeah, not at all. And then I got engaged in the middle of that. So
it's amazing. Congratulations.
My best friend. So I'm really happy because our story is full circle, which I shared on LinkedIn. We've known each other for 20 years. Over 20 years, but he was always the guy in the background to tell all my dating secrets to. Now now he's the guy that I'm married.
Shara, that's literally my husband and I. We met when we were 17. We kept in touch for 2 decades. He was always the guy. He was always there. You know what I mean? He was always there. Great guy, always there. And all of a sudden we're like, what are we doing? We're like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, I think something with probably boys too. I'm not sure. I'm not, but as we get older, certain things feel differently to us, and we started noticing things we would never notice before. And these people, we just gain a different type of appreciation for the relationships that we have. We get rid of some that don't actually matter or serve us well,
Sure.
But I think a lot of people have that one person that's kind of always been there and behind the curtain in their journey.
Yeah, well, we did date. I can honestly say we did date in high school, but it's funny because when he asked my mother and my father for hand in marriage, they were the same people who said, "You can't date my daughter, you're too old." And my mom cussing him out and saying, "Don't call my effing house anymore." And I was 15. Going on 20, and 20 years later, he asked for their, my hand, and they say yes. So it's just funny.
Oh, so cool.
That is really cool.
You've got a beautiful story. Thank you, man. And it's only a piece of it, I know.
Yeah,
it's not even everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's been raising Jaden since Jaden was 3 months old.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's how you know you have a good human. He's not just that guy, you know what I mean? That's a good person, and that's what Jane's gonna have to look up to. That's beautiful. That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, pretty much. I kind of lucked up with this one, but it was not. Whenever I share that little love story, I tell people that it was a fight because he is not like a lot. The last 2 men that I was either engaged to or married to. They were both military and mostly disconnected. So there's a big connection with my father. Which I had to deal with, which is actually in another book. But nonetheless, he was a emotionally healthy, stable man. And I fought that because I thought it was something that I didn't deserve. So that was a lot of work that I had to do myself. I know a lot of women can relate to.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
100%.
Shara, if there was somebody that, that's listening, that's intrigued or curious or would like to reach out to you or, potentially hire you, how would they get in touch with you?
Oh, I live on a couple of different places. So I live on LinkedIn mostly. I live on Instagram now. I'm on Twitter all the time. I don't have a YouTube yet, but I'm working on that. Okay. Yeah, so I think those are 3 in Clubhouse. So I'm in 4 different places, but it's all in my tree.
The link tree, this one right here, right?
Yep, that is. Yes. Yep. I actually have updated with my 2 clubs that I have as if I'm not busy enough, but I do run 2 clubs over there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be stalking you later.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Oh my gosh, this has been so cool. Yeah. Do you mind if we ask you a few more just kind of like random questions before we let you go?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to start or me?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going in. All right. What is one thing about you that might surprise people?
Oh, that will surprise people?
Something that we wouldn't know about you just from, listening to you on LinkedIn.
Oh, man. I love wine. I mean,
that a girl. If we would have known, we'd have been ready for this.
I know, right? We opted for coffee.
Yeah, we went coffee instead.
Although we were feeling wine.
I literally have like it's a bottle. It's like a glass bottle. I haven't had it out in a while, so this is collecting dust. Like I need to pull that out probably this weekend. But it literally has. This is a wine glass for my size because it literally fits the whole bottle.
Oh, I love it.
It's like two-handed.
Yeah.
That
was you do with having a glass of wine. It's legitimate.
Just dump that whole thing and you just
one glass.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Oh man. Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Oh my God. So many things. One, to not be scared of what the future holds.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I was back then. I was just scared of everything. I tried a lot of things, but I lived in a kind of a color-coded square box by a planner. So, and I still have these. I still have them, and I was like, oh my God, I was such a control freak.
I am too.
We all have that.
Yeah.
Perfectionist, but learning that life doesn't fit in these nice, pretty little planners, or it took me a very long time to realize that. When I had Jaden, he definitely threw a wrench. But it was a good wrench that I needed. It allowed me to slow down, because before I had him, I was supposed to go into a doctorate program. So, it taught me to slow down, and I'm like, ooh, I'm so glad I took that time off. And just to live and to learn and to grow. So that's what I would say.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
All right.
All right, finish this sentence for us. Vulnerability is
Power.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, I love
It gave me
that.
several goosebumps.
I'm going to use that and tag you on LinkedIn.
Vulnerability is power. Yeah.
I love that.
I can honestly say that. I'm gonna make that. I'll put it on my quote book.
Yeah,
But
Yes, do that. That's gonna be your next little meme.
yeah, literally from the time I started on LinkedIn, May 2018, up till now, I can literally say just showing up as myself has been probably the best thing I did on that platform, and then was able to pivot. But literally, it pivot. I mean, with Shawnee, when I met her, I was already sitting at 30,000, but I wasn't using it. The connection or the community, they really didn't know me, and so I kept showing up on video. And then most people, when they see me, they're like, I feel like I know you because I see you all the time.
Right. No, and I was in the same boat. I had 25,000 followers before Growth Academy, and I didn't know what to do with them. Like, that was great. That's nice. And I talked to a few of them, but like, what does that all mean? And I've learned so much.
Yeah, it's really powerful. Especially for me, it was one of those things where I talked about my mental illness all the time and mental health. A lot of people found out, it's like, you're brave. I was like, no, that's real. I think the pandemic really just taught us not to, to show up as ourselves. We miss connection. We need that connection. We don't, get a chance to, hug each other, touch each other. I mean, of course, with the vaccine stuff that's happening now, but just to think about the fact that what makes us human is being able to connect,
right?
Talk to each other.
Yes, we are socially hardwired.
Yeah.
And this, even a month of that would have been enough to really highlight and bring some things to your attention.
Yeah.
I mean, most of us have shifted entire lifestyles, and everybody in our, radius is lifestyle to refit, remanage, and push forward. I feel like a lot of things, we've actually come up better people than we were before.
Yeah.
Because we have things that we grew up inherently that were so good of our core that get lost when you start going through life and you're becoming part of a enterprise, or you're becoming part of this, and you're just really indoctrinated into a very specific way of life, and it becomes counter efficient, right? It becomes against what you want to do, and it's been a really nice reset, a good reset for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Oh man, vulnerability is power. Love it. All right. What qualities do you value in the people to whom you spend time?
Oh, I love a good time. I love to laugh. So I have videos, anything. Like I love cats, but I can't have them right now. I mean, I look at stupid cat videos. I grew up with cats. I didn't grow up with dogs, but my fiance, he's like allergic. He's allergic to our little guinea pig.
Oh yeah.
But so I love my when I did have a cat. So I borrow my mom's cat a lot.
That's awesome.
But nonetheless, I would say qualities I love in people I spend with, that they're fun, that they love kids, because I'm surrounded by them.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit right now. But Jaden's on his way home, so it won't be for long. But I would probably say another value is that they love life. They love to live. They, I really, even my family members, when they're like in a mood or a bad disposition, I don't like to come into people's, like take on other people's stuff. So if you know what I mean, like, really being careful what you take in, because then that becomes the lens that you look through. So really trying to be careful to, be around positive energy, positive people, people that are doing things that are where I either want to be or they're aspiring to something, and I want to be around that. So I'm really just try to be around people that reflect a lot of what I value in terms of my work, which now I love what I do. Being able to have fun and take breaks and not have to worry about somebody else doing my schedule,
Yeah.
in control. Yeah, I mean, there are probably a lot of other things, but my tired brain's not picking up all of them.
And that is okay.
No,
That is okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, and being around negative people, like when you have to be, and if you start to mirror those responsibilities, it only builds them further.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm kind of like that. You know, like if you can either like do it with them and then just make it so much worse, or you can just be the person that's totally oddballed out, really positive, and they're like don't even know how to act around you anymore.
Right.
I'll take the other one most of the time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, is there anything, any parting words or advice or any little tidbit of knowledge you would like to drop before we end the Hempy Hour?
Oh my goodness. I feel like I've rambled so much.
I love rambling.
This is the most like educational rambling I've ever been part of. So
Right.
thank you. I mean, really.
I guess it would have to be to make sure that you're holistically taking care of your whole self and not just pieces of you. If there's anything, because I still, I don't practice mental health right now. I'm not an active practitioner. However, I still incorporate a lot of my training into my coaching work. So it's even personally for myself, making sure that I'm taking time out to refill my cup. As a mom, as a soon-to-be wife, as a business entrepreneur person, you give out so much to other people. Even if you're just working, you're still pouring out to people. But just really remembering to make sure you're taking care of not only your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health as well. It's important, and we get so busy that we forget to do that.
Right.
I forget to do that. I mean, my problem right now has been making sure that I'm taking time up to disconnect and then to reconnect, because I always have my devices and all of that. But today was one of those days, like, I'm just going to take an hour to just not do nothing but play my Mario. Because that's
Is it Mario Kart or is it what is it?
Mario Kart.
Yes, me too.
3D World. I play with my son on Nintendo Switch. He's always trying to get me to play Luigi Mansion, but he beat it already. I don't want to play a game. So he's always trying to get me to play it. But yeah, I don't know. PlayStation, I don't get it also. That's a whole other thing.
I have an Xbox.
It's too real. I think I ran out. I played Resident Evil with my brother, and I literally dropped the controller and ran out the room.
It's live action.
I'm like, zombie running at me. No, I'm not used to playing that type of game. I'm out. So, give me my Mario. I know Mario. Nothing's going to
I trust Mario.
Right. I love him.
I don't gotta use no guns. I'm good. Don't. I'll be the first one running out into the darkness, and that usually when he tries to get me to play those games, it's just I need something that I can disconnect from reality. Because during the pandemic, all I did was play this game called, I don't know if you heard of it, Animal Crossing.
Yes, Jax has it. Yeah. Definitely.
All I did for 5 months.
I love that. Were you like setting up tents and camping around the water and
5 months? That's all I could do.
I love that.
Talk to my little Animal Crossing people and build island. Now I can't even play the time or the attention for it. But then it was my only escape. I needed to revert back to something. I grew up with games as a child, so I needed to revert back to a happy time. Right. So I bought a Switch and I played video games. And my fiance, he was just like, I don't understand it. He's like, you're doing what? I was like, look, babe, I'm building a house. He's like, what? It's like he plays the PlayStation, so now my son Jaden's into his Nintendo Switch, but now he's a PlayStation, so he's getting a little further along. It's like, I'm just gonna stay over my Nintendo corner. Y'all can have all.
Yeah, I'm good with Nintendo Switch too.
Like I wouldn't give to be able to like plug in like an old school NES and play some Zelda. Like I literally would give.
The new Zelda is a little too much. It's like 3D World type stuff. Even on the Switch, I can't.
It ends at 64 for me, and that's a genre.
Oh yes, nostalgia.
Combat, me and Gina.
Yeah, the good old days.
The good old days. Finish him.
Okay, Shara, thank you so much for your time today and your expertise and helping so many people. And helping us just reiterate, because I mean, because we're very similar with the way we post on LinkedIn. Like it's okay to be you, always be you, never apologize for being you. Lead with love, lead with kindness, and you live that every day. And it's really a breath of fresh air. And thank you.
Yeah, 100%. And thanks for coming off your busy day and like just sitting down with us.
Oh, this is good to me. This is fine time for me because I needed a break and I have a client in another 15 minutes. So I'm just like, this is a good time. I'm thinking about food. That's what I'm thinking about.
There you go.
You know what? Maybe we can get you back on in a few months, see where you're at with your book and see where this journey has taken you. Give you an update.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm trying to have this thing finished because I've been talking about it for 3 years. So it's at 60. It's halfway there. It's at 65 pages. So if the sun is not dancing in my videos half the time anymore, I can get more. So yeah, I'm hoping to have it done by the end of the summer because it's combined with that book with it's a motivational journal. So repurposing with some content on LinkedIn that I've used in the past. So
beautiful.
No, fantastic, man.
I love it.
Thank you so much, and I'm literally gonna be on Clubhouse later finding you. So
yeah. No, we got to be more.
I want to hear more what you have to say because it's very relatable to me.
Yes,
to me.
Shara, thank you again so much for your time, and we can't wait to have you on again one day.
Yes. Have a good
evening.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
That was awesome. Well, like you said, there's so much of that. Like we know like bits and pieces, when it comes to mental health, or let alone the care you can get. Like you said, how many people are even aware of what's available?
She nailed it with the vulnerability is power. Right?
Yes.
And again, because having the opportunity to have people talk about their journeys. I mean, the wave and the flow of how many ears and hearts that touches. It's literally how we heal.
Yes.
Or how we even open up the conversations to heal. As adults, right? We don't have our parents, or most of us, guiding us like this continuously. We look to each other for these.
Right.
Types of relationships, and to find other people, as my father said, find each other, you'll never regret it. And it's so true.
Oh, it's so true.
It's
so true.
Yeah,
and the fact that she took that passion that she had for helping people and now has turned it into her own journey and her own entrepreneurship and helping other people get to where she was. And so she knows that struggle. That's cool.
To have the type of experiences that it takes to be able to build a lifestyle management program or resource from is a life well lived, no matter the trauma and everything that comes with it. But that having all of that, and being able to, as a individual, take that and turn it into something that other people need, is huge.
Huge.
I don't care if it takes 10 years, 20 years.
No,
you never
time
gave
doesn't
up on
matter.
that,
Right. You don't give up on yourself. There's no time to give up on yourself.
Giving up on yourself, even though you do at times, right? You go through these phases, but eventually.
And the connection, like she mentioned, the connection of mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
Mental health is not just your mind. Mental, we understand, means mind, but there's a lot more to that, and we need more awareness.
Yeah, like last week, John calls it mind to body, not even separate entities, right? They are one thing. They can't really function without the other.
Right.
And that's very true. I like that. I like how people in that field are taking that step to that being the law of the land.
Yes.
Long overdue. Not isolating. I'm sure there's a time where you have to, right? When we're talking about certain kinds of disorders and things. But again, most people are just looking for coping skills, lifestyle management skills. And I really like the holistic approach for that.
Yeah. And knowing you're not alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not alone. We're 3 grown women. We're all moms. We've all been through some stuff. We all just had an entire conversation about it. And it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we need people to understand that it's okay to talk, and we need to be there for each other and be open and honest and transparent, because that's how you build trust.
And how this translates in businesses, you have healthy people. They do healthy things and they make healthy decisions for your employment.
Yeah.
In their employment. I know I always say out work life, home life, but a lot of these things cross lines with each other.
Yeah, and now more than ever.
Absolutely. Yeah, most people are working from their home, and that you're part of that every day of their way. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Mental Health Awareness Month has really been pulling out some really unique individuals that we know.
Yeah.
And
It's been really
really,
cool. It's been
yeah.
a really cool month.
I'm really glad that, we're taking some time to target the same issue each week through May, and hopefully continue to make a change, right?
Yeah, make that change.
Make a change. Oh, Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Mary.
So whether you are watching us or listening to us, we thank you for being a part of the Hempy Hour. And we appreciate you and your time. And just know that we are here for you. Any questions, concerns, please reach out anytime. We'll make sure you have all of Shara's information.
Yes.
You can connect to her. And let's see what we can all do together.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yes. Why not?
Why not?
That's the only question you really have to ask yourself. Why not?
Why not? One love.
One love.
Welcome to the nation. I said, welcome